Everybody and welcome. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another match from the defense number 3. And I'm Bubal, and I was just stuck for a moment trying to remember what exactly I have to do when I introduce the game. But no, I actually remembered. It's actually not that hard. You actually just say the name of the tournament and say who you are, and that's how you do an introduction, everybody. Really not that hard. I'm not trying to call anybody out. This is just me having a momentary brain fart and then explaining. You know, this is why you can't make dumb statements, because otherwise you might have to go into things that might not seem politically correct. But anyway, enough of me rambling on and on. We have a match between Lions Pride from Russia versus Team Liquid. Just a little bit of the overview. I think Team Liquid is 2-1 before they played this match, and Korok was on holiday. I think he just came back today. This game, I think, was played yesterday, if I am not too mistaken. Male Lions Pride, they might be 1-1, they might be 1-2. But either way, these teams are currently... Team Liquid is currently 3rd before this match is played, and I think Lions Pride is like 5th or 6th. So, in the defense 3, the top 4 people in each group, there are 4 groups, all pretty stacked, relatively speaking, that move on. So 4 teams from each of the 4 groups will move on, but the 2 lower teams in each group will move on to the lower bracket. So the losers bracket and the 2 upper teams will stay and continue on in the winners bracket. So that's a pretty cool idea how to run an online tournament, and of course it's a ridiculously long tournament. If you want to catch all the coverage, check out Toby's cast at Join Dota. That YouTube channel is back, so you can watch the VODs there, but if you want to stick here, stay a while, cast a bit with me, then feel free. But yeah, Korok is on holiday. Looks like Nori's going to be staying in place, but other than that, we have the standard Team Liquid roster. Meanwhile, on the side of Lions Pride, who have been putting out very decent performances. Really, the Central European scene, consisting of Russia, Ukraine, have really been pumping out some top quality Dota 2 content, whether it be Empire, stuff like that. It might not be on the level of G League, which, again, fantastic tournament. And if you want another fantastic tournament to watch a Dota 2 raid call, just so I'm covering all my bases so I cannot be flamed by anybody. Key move, don't fail to mention everybody, or else you'll be flamed by somebody. But actually, you guys have been very supportive, so I do not expect to be flamed either way. Unless, of course, I make a mistake like saying, oh no, that Queen of Pain has a 4-staff who sold for BKB, and Techies has, when it was actually Techies, or, oh no, net worth not taking into account courier, stuff like that. But meanwhile, just taking out the picks and bans, pretty standard picks and bans. Lions Pride gonna pick up the Darkseer, so Team Liquid, who is still left in the pool? They have Twin-Head Dragon for an option, but Team Liquid does like to use some pretty different supports. I know Visage is a favorite. Keeper of the Light, I think, would be a pretty strong support to pick up in this situation, just because he's so versatile and good, can be pretty good in every lineup, but Team Liquid may have some other options in mind. Keep in mind they are playing with the stand, so they can't pick up a typical Korok carry. So it's going to be interesting to see what Team Liquid decides to go for. Team Liquid 2-1. Been performing relatively well, and Team Liquid has stated that they will remain committed, and Keeper of the Light is going to be the first pickup. Called it. I have not seen this game. I did not even know the picks and bans. I just walked into this game blindfolded, but apparently I'm so awesome that I know the first pick. No, actually it wasn't really that hard. Meanwhile, Team Liquid, thinking about, I doubt that they'll pick up their secondary support here. They might try to pick up their offlane hero, I think. Could be Queen of Pain for perhaps a mid lane dominance. They're going to pick up the Lifestealer, so they're going to pick up their carry right off the bat. Lifestealer, a very powerful carry, but I'm a little bit questionable to pick up Lifestealer after Darkseer has been obtained. Lifestealer is a very strong ganking carry, very strong laning carry, and definitely can survive a lot in teamfights, but the problem is Lifestealer does get kited around pretty easily. And Darkseer's Surge just makes it a nightmare for Lifestealer to catch up unless he has something like a Basher or an Abyssal Blade or anything like that. But Team Liquid obviously knows what they're doing, and Lifestealer definitely a strong carry. And we'll see how it shapes up. Meanwhile, Lions Pride, they do have their offlane hero who could potentially mid solo as well, and could potentially jungle, but most likely will be in the offlane or in the mid lane. So I think they might try to pick up their mid lane right here. May get Queen of Pain, maybe you get something like a Night Stalker if they want to be very, very gank heavy. Keep in mind, Vigoss is on the team. So I hope that Lions Pride plays very aggressive when almost full-on shinies right there. Actually, never mind. That doesn't make any sense because R and L. Never mind. I'm just gonna stop right now before I dig myself into too deep of a hole and just continue like this never happened. You do not remember anything. I'm just gonna shine this blinking red light, Man Black style, into your face and say, you do not know what's going on. Lion's probably gonna pick up the stable Chaos Knight Wisp combination that has worked wonders for teams like Fnatic. Navi recently have been really experimenting with Wisp very heavily, and Wisp is one of those heroes who is very unutilized in the Asian scene. It's usually banned there quite a bit. So if the Western teams do have something on their side, they might have the Wisp mastery on their side, because they are definitely a lot more eager to experiment it rather than the Asian teams. Other than that, the Asian Dota is just looking very, very strong at this point. But that's another subject entirely. So Lions Pride do have their Cypher combination. I'm gonna wonder if they try to pick up another support, because I feel like Wisp is a support who definitely does rely on experience quite heavily. And if they pick up a typical tri lane, I mean, they'll be able to win their lane with relative ease, but Wisp won't be able to pick up levels till very late on, and Wisp is one of those supports who, if he doesn't get going, he's pretty much garbage in late game. Like, what will he do? He can relocate, but wait, at the mid to late stage of the game, the team will most likely be sticking together. He can tether, and he can die. That's pretty much it. Meanwhile, Team Liquid gonna pick up most likely their offlane hero, but could potentially go in the mid lane position, Lone Druid. So Team Liquid only really have committed themselves 2 heroes for their lanes thus far. Keep the Light and Lifesteal will be in the safe lane position most likely. Lone Druid probably going to be in the offlane position, but has the capability to go in the mid lane, and at this point, considering there aren't really too many strong mid lane heroes left in the pool, I expect both teams to start banning on mid lane heroes like Queen of Pain. Maybe Puck would be a reasonable ban as well. I feel like Puck is a pretty strong hero these days, and pretty unexplored by the Western teams. I know the Southeast Asian teams place a very high priority on picking up Puck, but I mean, they have not fully transitioned on to Dota 2. So Lions Pride are going to ban Jakiro, so they're just saying, okay, I think this indicates, considering that they had the first pickup after the ban stage, that they are most likely going to dual lane the Chaos Knight Wisp, try to get themselves a jungler, maybe like a Furion, maybe like a, I don't know, may do a dual lane mid with a roaming Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon has been seeing a huge resurgence in popularity. One of the most powerful ganking supports in the game, very powerful roamer. So they could do something like that, but I don't think they'll do an aggressive try anymore. They could also pick up something like a Chen or an Enchantress to really solidify, get their push going, and try to get map control so Wisp can really cause havoc early on. And Lions probably going to be out the Windrunner as well, so they're just saying, alright, Lone Druid, you're going to be committed to the offlane. Meanwhile, Liquid going to ban out the Rubik. I don't think they have really too many great spells to steal, but maybe they fear the versatility of Rubik in conjunction with the Darkseer Chaos Knight Wisp combination. Rubik always a very strong hero in most situations, but I don't know if Lions Pride would have necessarily picked him up, unless they solo mid with him, which they could have. Who knows? And I'm still surprised to see no Queen of Pain ban just yet. I feel like Queen of Pain would be an obvious choice for one of these teams after this banning phase is all said and done. No real dominant mid lane solos just yet, but I think if one of these teams do decide to pick up Queen of Pain, Puck could be an appropriate counterpick. The question is, who would play the Puck? Vigoss, I think, could probably play a pretty solid Puck. Bulba probably plays a pretty solid Puck as well. But yeah, I think Queen of Pain is an obvious choice right now, just considering the stage of the bans that we are at. And Lions Pride gonna try to ban out the rest of that tri-lane, or ban out the rest of that safe tri-lane for the Lifestealer. Gonna ban out the Shadow Demon also indicates that, okay, we don't want any roaming ganks to happen while Wisp and Chaos Knight trying to farm up. And of course, if that Shadow Demon comes into place with Soul Catcher, even a tanky offlane hero like the Darkseer will just die very, very easily. But do keep in mind that Lifestealer's thing isn't actually stunned, it's just slow, so Surge just goes right through it very, very easily. Meanwhile, Liquid going about the Weaver. I did think Weaver was underestimated. I don't know if Lions Pride would have decided to get him anyway, but Lions Pride going to pick up the Venomancer, so there goes my prediction of just going to be a dual lane with a jungler. They are going to probably go for a tri-lane unless they do a dual lane mid of Chaos Knight Wisp, which can definitely take it to TL quite a bit considering their picks right now, but still TL 2 picks left in their arsenal to decide to go for that. But right now, Lion's Pride do have a couple ways they can lane this. They could do a dual lane mid, they could do a Darkseer mid, they could do a tri lane bot. I think in this situation, just going to play it safe on my part. It's going to be Chaos Knight, Wisp, Venom, tri lane, and then they're going to pick up a solid mid lane soul. But if they don't get a prototypical mid lane soul, then we'll be most likely Chaos Knight, Wisp, dual lane mid.
Reserve time. 5 seconds remaining.
Meanwhile, TL wasting a lot of their time, well, not really wasting, just running down a lot of their time. They are going to pick up the Puck, so maybe they're anticipating Lion's Pride picking up a Queen of Pain right here. Maybe they just really like Puck's teamfight potential. Puck, one of those heroes who can survive very, very easily, can definitely make it difficult for Darkseer to surge people out and just kite around the lifestealer. That Dream Coil just causes nightmares for Darkseer in these huge engagements. Can hold Chaos Knight to a relatively solid region, but Lion's Pride going to choose the Tiny. Now, Tiny these days is played as a hard carry, but in this lineup, I think he'll be the mid-solo hero with potential dealing support of the Venomancer, and maybe go for a bit more of an aggressive ganking build, because this is Vigoss, this is Russian Dota, so maybe we're going to see the standard Blink Dagger rush into Arcane Boots into phase, or Arcane Boots into Blink Dagger into just killing everything, because they do have the Chaos Knight to fall back on, but he does have the option to transition into more of a late game build. Aghanim Scepter, very, very solid. Meanwhile, TL gonna pick up the Visage. Visage, one of those supports who is really favored by only a couple of teams, and TL is one of those teams. I'm sure Fluff will pick up the Visage right now, and there goes your tri-lane, but I don't necessarily think that this tri-lane will really be able to get too much accomplished. Visage is not really a strong pushing hero. Pretty good burst damage hero, but so far the heroes on the side of the Lion's Pride team are pretty tanky, aside from Venomancer and Wisp. Maybe they just want to get some map control in the form of those familiars, but I don't think Visage will necessarily get too much experience, so I'm not really too sure of Visage's role in this game, unless they really try to force the tri-lane versus tri-lane issue, which they might have to go for, and I think that is what TL is going to go for. They're going to try to match up their tri-lane versus tri-lane. But that Visage also does give the indication that, okay, TL might want to run a tri-lane versus tri-lane, so we'll just put our safe lane up against their tri-lane instead. But just going to introduce the players and the teams very, very shortly, as these players starting to pick up their heroes. Again, you can see, oops, how'd that happen? Go away, shop. You are not wanted here. Go away, shop. Go home, shop. What are you doing, shop? Stop. Stop. Shop. Stop. I don't know how to get rid. Yeah! Only took about 30 seconds too long. Alright, I feel so good about myself right now. But yeah, Liquid are going to do an aggressive challenge, so it is going to be Vigoss playing the Chaos Knight, Stock LP playing the Tiny Android, playing the Venomancer, Massacre playing the Darkseer, and Zako playing the Wisp. Unfortunately, the only real Lion's Pride member I'm familiar with is Vigoss, and I'm sure he loves playing the Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight, one of the most powerful carries in 0.48B when Vigoss was king, but now Dota players have gotten a lot better, so Vigoss's style not really as good as it was back in those days, but he can still dominate a game and still has that train mech regression. Meanwhile, on the side of Team Liquid, yes, I did predict the Darkseer roaming back down to the bottom lane so that the Tiny Wisp combination will have safe farm, so it is going to be Wisp Tiny and Chaos Knight Venomancer in the mid lane. So I did think that it would be Wisp Chaos Knight, but other than that, the lanes of Lion's Pride seem to make a lot of sense, but I'll just keep going over Team Liquid's lineup. It is going to be Fluff playing the Visage, Inori playing the Lone Druid, TC playing that Lifestealer, Bulba playing the Puck, and IX Mike playing the Keeper of the Light. And Team Liquid definitely want to make a splash, having been picked up by Team Liquid, a very, very prominent esports sponsor. And big shouts to Team Liquid, getting a lot of great coverage. A lot of their content has been focused around Dota 2 these days. G League recaps, Star Ladder LAN Tournament final recaps. I mean, they are pretty much doing it all. But Bulba is going to be hard pressed to stay in this lane. Even though you can phase shift Venomancer Gales, if Venomancer gets a couple points in the Poison Sting, which he will get at level 2, then Puck will just take so much damage and will always have to be on the lookout for Vigoss with that cast bolt. So you can phase the Venomous Scale, but then he might just get stunned, so it's going to be really difficult for Bulba to really solidify himself in this lane, but he should theoretically just not die unless he gets a bit outplayed. Meanwhile, Team Liquid predicted that the Trion would switch, but also they played this very aggressive Observer Ward that did spot the movement, so I think they did see the Darkseer, so they switched up the Trion so that Visage will get matched up against the opposing team's dual lane. So it is going to be Lone Druid versus Darkseer on the bottom lane. Lone Druid actually taking a bit of damage from the Ion Shell. Darkseer won't be able to die until he gets level 5, and even then it'll be extremely hard to kill the Darkseer. But Lone Druid theoretically should not die. I'm not too sure who wins this lane. I imagine that theoretically Lone Druid does have the advantage because he has 2 heroes and one of them is ranged. And meanwhile, this tri lane top is going to be abandoned altogether. Looks like Wisp Tiny just going to say, screw it, Darkseer, go against the tri lane. And Darkseer is going to have a decent amount of experience so he can survive. Going to have at least 1 point to surge. So he's going to survive a lot of the burst damage that can come through. Keep in mind, there's no hardcore disables on the side of Team Liquid that can really block Darkseer in place. So I expect Darkseer to pick up a TP scroll. He did, and he's just going to teleport top. But meanwhile, Lone Druid is going to pick up a healthy amount of experience himself. And Wisp Tiny, only level 1, so Lone Druid won't be too fussed staying against this dual lane. But there goes the teleport top. So far, a bit of lane switching, a bit of mind games by both sides. Meanwhile, Venomite's harassed quite heavily by the puck, nicely done by Bulba. In terms of the last hits, you can see TC pretty much last hitting every single creep, because he has pretty much had solo free farm, missing that one last hit, but always a bit tricky to last hit under the tower. Didn't even pick up a Quelling Blade, so you could expect him to miss 1 or 2 under the tower. Meanwhile, the wraparound gank from Massacre, I think they're just trying to do some physical harass. They know they can't really pick up a kill. He's just going to Ion Shell, push the creep up all the way back to the tower so hard that it will get pushed back by the tower. And I'm going to get some CS as well, so Darkseer doing a nice job in that regard. Meanwhile, Soul Assumption was dropped by Liquid Fluff, I think, 4-second cooldown. So very, very short cooldown, can spam, but doesn't have the mana cost to really sustain that efficiently. Gonna pop a Clarity and actually gonna roam back to the bottom lane because there is a Keeper of the Light to help out the bear. Are they gonna do another tri-lane swap? Wow. Don't really see this happen too often, but the Mud Golem's gonna block a lot of that Illuminate damage. Mud Golem's always a nuisance. Nobody likes Mud Golems. If you like Mud Golems, then you're just a masochist. I mean, what else can you be called? So despite all this lane swap, only 2 lanes have really remained constant. TC on the top lane and this dual lane mid against the puck. Unfortunately, TC is taking a decent amount of harassment by this Darkseer, allowing him to mess up some of the last hits. It is going to force TC to use his salve because he can't always pop Rage. Lifesteal does not have the biggest mana pool and always wants to save a bit of mana just in case there is a gank opportunity with that open wounds. So going to have to be a bit conservative on how he uses his mana. Meanwhile, Wisp, level 3. Managed to pick himself up a healthy amount of experience. Tiny only level 2. So this tri-lane rotation by Team Liquid has been looking very, very sharp. Really keeping down the opposing carry, which is a Tiny in this situation. Tiny barely able to escape. Meanwhile, Puck in a lot of trouble. Wisp was there to help reinforce, but here comes Vigoss in the gank train. Wisp gonna get the tether stun off Liquid Bulba. Trying to do as much work as he can possibly do, but unfortunately, just not enough. He is only a Puck. Puck the Magic Dragon lived by the death. Tried to make that sound sinister, but there's only so many things you can do to try to make Puck the Magic Dragon really just sound sinister. And unfortunately, I think I failed in that regard. But you guys should know that song. Puff the Magic Dragon, never mind. Anyway, back to Dota. Tiny, not having too much fun. TC is starting to have a little bit of trouble, 26 and 8, still leading in terms of the last hits, but Darkseer able to push him out of the lane. Gonna have that Soul Ring up relatively soon, gonna have it delivered to him on the Flying Courier. Meanwhile, Lone Druid not able to get, well, 24 and 13. Here comes the gank, Grave Chill being popped. One Soul Assumption will mean the death of Tiny. Actually, a couple more auto attacks is going to secure that kill. So Fluff not even having to use that Soul Assumption, which is definitely going to be useful. Has a ridiculously high mana cost in the early levels, which does scale down, but Visage really needs all the mana he can possibly get in this game. So Clairvoyant's having himself a pretty solid lane. TC having pretty solid farm as well. So far Team Liquid seems to be doing alright aside from Bulba, but he was against a dual lane for most of the time. Only level 4 at this point because he is under such heavy harassment in that mid lane, and because Bulba has been effectively phased out. Oh, you see what I did there? I didn't even mean for that to happen. That just flowed out of my mouth naturally. I'm gonna stop now, because that just sounded so wrong, taken out of context. But yeah, with Puck's impact being phased out in that mid lane, it allows the supports on the side of the rain to start roaming around, start helping Tiny, because Tiny, he's only a poor lonely stone giant. He needs some help. Only level 1, definitely not manly enough to stand up against all of this assault, especially by this big scary gargoyle in the form of the Visage, or the Visage, or whatever the heck, Visage. God. I'm just gonna call him Visage. I think that's probably the right pronunciation. Who knows? Actually, before looking up this game, because I knew there was going to be a Visage pick, so I just lied to you at the beginning of the game. I don't know, man. I'm just talking and words are not making sense. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, despite Vigoss getting relative free farm, he is not actually lasting every single creep. Darkseer was forced to teleport out of the bottom lane, but gonna surge himself back up, so Fluff gonna transition, seeing that TC was having a bit of trouble, not only in terms of lasting, but just taking a bit more damage than he probably should have. Forced to pick up the triangle boots, might disassemble it later on to pick up something like a Vlad's with that ring of regen. Who knows? I don't really know if triangle boots are the optimal boots on Lifestealer. Usually other Lifestealers get treads or get phase boots, but I think he might just disassemble it and make it into a Vlad's later on. Actually, a nifty little trick you can do is build the triangle boots, pop it, and then disassemble it so you can use the Sage's Mask regen a bit better. Or the Ring of Regen. Well, disassemble the triangle boots, pop the regen, and then disassemble that in order to get the Ring of Basilius back if you do have Ring of Basilius built. But it looks like Clairvoyant's going to get ganked on the bottom lane, going to take a bunch of burst damage right to the face. So tanky with that true form, but he is going to eventually die to the Tiny. Nicely done by Lion's Pride, allowing Tiny to roam back in, or walk back in, and get that last hit. Meanwhile, Vigoss is going to take a bunch of damage on the middle lane. Can he escape? Nice stun onto Liquid Bulba. Will he die? Liquid Bulba able to phase out in the nick of time, but now he's blocked by his own creeps. Why have you betrayed me so? No, he's going to orb out just fine. So 2-2 on both sides. And keep in mind, the one constant in this game thus far is that TC is pretty much having uninterrupted farm, so TC gonna enjoy this quite a bit, but Darkseer is leveling up pretty high, so he's gonna have level 4 surge up faster than normal if he had a solid Trilon against him. But this is sort of the price you have to pay when you pick up Visage. You have to be so aggressive in your Trilon. Nicely done by the Venomancer, where attacking the rune, destroying it, preventing the Team Liquid side from picking it up for themselves, where they could use it for nefarious deeds and otherwise harmful to the Russian squad. But yeah, Vigoss not really having the best day in terms of lasting, despite being matched up against Puck. Puck only level 5 at this stage. Really hurting for experience. Puck, one of those heroes who doesn't necessarily need too much farm, but really benefits from a lot of experience. And that's why we don't really see him as much in the European scene. He is going to get jumped on by Reality Rift, seeing that Illusory Orb was out of mana, but nice phase shift, dodging the stun. Looks like Liquid Fluff going to take a bunch of damage. No, he just does a bunch of damage in his place. Whiffs does die. Venomancer soon to follow. As Vigoss trying to escape, he is fast, he is furious. Can he escape? The Illuminate just touches him, but just on the tip. But Vigoss able to run away to safety, so 2-4 in favor of Team Liquid, but I do think Team Liquid do have the better early game. The question is, do they have the better late game? And that's debatable. Lifestealer Bear, solid late game, but I think Tiny can just outclass both of these guys pretty much single-handedly, especially with the help of Chaos Knight. The problem is Wisp, level 4, really hurting in terms of experience, and again, Wisp, who gets hurt down so early on, just isn't too big of a factor. But meanwhile, Clairvoyant's going to get a lot of damage on this bottom lane, going to morph again to True Form, sitting in that True Form ability, again, cannot stand up to the mighty Thwax's Stone Giants. Fists of Fury. So Clairvoyance, after having a reasonable good start, starting to feel the pressure. And the Dire do not have any real lane wards to help protect them. They do have a rune ward, but the Dire don't have any lane wards. I think Clairvoyance probably should have suspected that something was going to happen, but without a lack of wards, that did definitely not help matters. So Vigoss going to charge in at 1/4 HP, doing as Vigoss does, but really can't do too much against Liquid Fluff. Does he have any points into the Gravekeeper's Cloak? 1 point is pretty much all he needs at this point, giving him a bit of magic resistance, a bit of armor, but not hurting him in terms of the chasing ability. Meanwhile, TC did go for that Midas build. Gonna get a lot of experience. Already you can see level 9 by far. Well, not by far, but is the highest level in the game. As Tiny Wisp combination gonna come in. Here comes the toss, just doing a bit of harassment on Clairvoyance. Clairvoyance probably was saying, when I signed up to be a part of Team Liquid in this game, I was not expecting this to happen. But the familiars are up. The question is, what will Liquid Fluff do with them? As familiars so hard to use effectively, but pro players always seem to work magics or work wonders with this ability in professional games. Avatos has been used by Tiny, so if Liquid Fluff does want to initiate, gonna use the familiars to wrap all the way around. Nor ward spawning out the progression of the familiars, not like you'd place a ward here anyway. Meanwhile, TC just continued to farm up, picked up the magic wand. I'm wondering what TC, I imagine he's just gonna go straight armlet now, and then try to get something like a basher, because he's definitely gonna need a basher in this game to hold Wisp, Darkseer in place. Heroes like that. But the game has stabilized a little bit, just ticking back on the farm. Clairvoyance has had his farm slow down quite a bit. Meanwhile, Vigoss, 1-1, has been catching up in Clairvoyance's farm, but you can see TC so far ahead, really making a lot of things happen. But again, I do think the Rain do have slightly better late game, and I do like what the Rain are doing. They're allowing Wisp just to sap a bit of experience, always staying in the shadows, so he can pick up that valuable level 6. Really good positioning by those Wisp, and you can see once he hits level 6, he's just going to get the heck out of there. Really smart playing by Zacco. Or, yeah, Zacco. That is his name. Meanwhile, Bulba going to bottom himself Illusion Rune. Unfortunately, Bulba has been hard-pressed to stay in this lane. 11 CS, has an Illusion Rune, but Dream Coil is pretty much all he needs in this game. Ideally, he will find his farm somewhere once the lane starts pushing in. Puck can flash farm pretty efficiently, but right now he's just not having too good of a time. Puck's damage really starts to shine in the early game, and unfortunately a lot of that damage will be negated due to the fact that other heroes do become more and more tanky as the game goes on. Who would have thought? But so far this game has stabilized out a bit. Tiny approaching Lone Druid on that bottom lane. Clairvoyance looks like he is going to save up for that Naked Relic. Not too sure how I feel about this. He has been under a lot of pressure. 13 minutes in the game. It won't really be the fastest relic, but will give him some nice tower pushing. As Mio on the top lane, Darkseer gonna get ganked. Nice chain stun, or nice stun by Liquid Fluff, but Darkseer just too fast. 2 points in that surge. Definitely gonna outrun the entirety of the Dire Squad unless TC can get in place for that infest. Meanwhile, Lone Druid did take the fall on the bottom lane as Darkseer able to escape to safety, but unfortunately the Wisp Chaos Knight combination able to clean up a kill relatively easy, as meanwhile Darkseer somehow managed to get caught up to on that top lane. I think it was Puck with the Dream Coil able to catch the Darkseer, and that is going to seal his fate. So they were able to kill the Darkseer, but at what cost? As TC did lose a bit of farming time, and they did lose the Lone Druid as well, but here comes the gank onto Tiny. Tiny is going to take so much damage, he is going to burst in a blaze of glitter, because that is what Puck does. Meanwhile, Clairvoyance, after being ganked on that bottom lane, gonna try to get a tower push going so that he can get a bit more gold in lining his pockets. But it's 46 in favor of Team Liquid. They are going to get themselves a tower as well. So Team Liquid looking pretty solid in this game thus far. They have managed to kill Tiny a couple of times, 2 times thus far, and Tiny's just gonna say screw it, just gonna go straight up Aghanims rather than getting anything like a phase boost.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
As this is what you can do with Tiny Wisp, you can just sort of avoid the ability to... You don't really have to get phase boots drums like we saw so often. You can just rely on Wisp to pump out a lot of move speed and a lot of damage. And you can see Wisp level 7, but is going to start putting points into overcharge very, very soon. As TC going to run back in, trying to do a bit of damage to Vigoss. Vigoss should be fine. Vigoss going to go for the drums himself. Going to buff up his move speed. And overall just be a total pain in the ass. Meanwhile, Dream Coil engaging against the Puck, tossing a bear right at Bulba. Definitely not something you see every day, as can Venomancer escape Blinding Light, actually helping the Venomancer, but Venomancer will end up dying. One more hit by the bear. Can the bear catch up? No, he was path blocked a bit. No, he does manage to pick up the Venomancer. Meanwhile, a successful TP out by the Tiny was forced. So again, a 2-for-1, as Liquid starting to get themselves a bit of a kill advantage now. Nicely done. I thought that Venomancer would have been able to escape, but so unlucky for Bulba. Trying to teleport out, suddenly a bear right in your face. I'm sure that would cancel anybody's teleport. That should just cancel anybody's teleport when a freaking bear gets checked at you. Meanwhile, Keeper Light gonna plant a very aggressive Observer Ward. I do not think Tiny spotted it, as Tiny did not react in any sort of way. Venomancer Ward not gonna be enough to spot the Keeper Light either. as Darkseer going to do some creep skipping. So overall, Team Liquid looks to be in pretty solid shape. I imagine Bear, yeah, he is going to pick up the rock. No, he's going to go for Maelstrom now. Don't know why he's banking so much gold then. I feel like he's died a decent amount of time that he could have bought some of the items and didn't have to waste so much gold in the process, just on the back of dying so often. But Maelstrom, pretty solid item, gives Bear a lot more chances to entangle rather than a Radiance, and entangle is what they're going to need against Darkseer, against Wisp Tiny. Bulba camping out in the middle lane is invisible, checking out the early game experience of gold graph, slightly in favor of the Dire in both regards. The Dire do have an additional tower up, and they are ahead in terms of kills. And they're out farming Lion Sprite, but Lion Sprite keeping it close. As Darkseer trying to get in position, does get the vacuum onto Keeper of the Light. Here comes a Wisp Tiny teleport in. No, it's going to be a Wisp Chaos Knight, almost as good as they managed to clean up Keeper of the Light at the beginning of the battle. The Familiar is going to slow down the assault of the Radiant. Radiant are going to teleport out very, very soon. Is Wisp going to break the tether? He should. No, he's going to just get himself right out of there. Where did they go? They went back to the bot lane. Will they make anything happen? They are going to go on the Lone Druid. Clairvoyance, you should have suspected that was going to happen. You knew Wisp and Tiny were going to go there, and they were able to pick up another kill. I keep calling them Wisp Tiny just because they seem synonymous, but actually Chaos Knight Wisp, almost as good, if not better, early game combination. But Vigoss and Zacho able to make a lot of things happen on that bottom lane, and Clairvoyance really starting to hurt. 1-4-1, not having too good of a time. And when does Lifesteal start playing a factor in this game? That is the question for me, as TC does have the armlet finished, just continue to farm up. And the problem with Lifesteal in this game is that he just really relies on Puck being there for the Dream Coil. I feel like Team Liquid, they can't really get too many ganks going unless Puck is just in the right position at the right time. Otherwise, Darkseer, Wisp Tiny will just make things a nightmare to deal with. Did I just call him Wisp Tiny again? God damn it. It's Chaos Knight Wisp. CK Wisp. Meow, Mike dutifully blasting down the creeps in the middle lane. Fluff gonna go for that mechanism. They are gonna use a smoke gank. They are gonna use Smoker to see. Will they make anything happen with it? It looks like they're just gonna charge middle with it, suspecting that perhaps the Dire saw it. But so far, the smoke has not broken for two of these guys. Do the Rain have an idea that there's only two people on the mid lane? They are trying to bait out the Wisp Chaos Knight duo to teleport back in, but it looks like they are not gonna fall for it. Bulba has been revealed by the Plague Ward. Keeper of the Light reveals himself as well. TC gonna try to initiate on the Venomancer, and Android P able to survive. Nice Dream Coil, catches the Tiny and the Darkseer. While Replica does go down as Cassadine and Wisp teleport, try to get back in the middle of things, but Wisp is gonna take a bunch of damage. He will end up dying, but Keeper of the Light takes the fall as well. Meanwhile, Tiny tried to do as much as he can, but Rage just negates so much damage. Venomancer did end up surviving, able to try to get a bit of counter gank going. So far, it is 3-3. Venomancer able to drop another gale. Here comes Vigoss back into the midst of the fray. Gonna get a 4-second stun to TC, but he's gonna vend that entirely. And instead, just gonna transition his aggression onto the Lone Druid. TC constantly toggling his armor, trying to pick up another kill on the Venomancer. Will Venomancer end up dying? He is gonna die. One last hit by TC. But overall, a 4-for-4 engagement. But the Dire did get a tower. Was it denied? I imagine it was not denied, as TC is going to pick up the Basher. Going to try to hold people in place. So, pretty hectic game so far. But the problem for the Dire is that Clairvoyance has just died so often. Tiny's died a lot as well, but he's been able to make 3 kills happen. Meanwhile, looks like the Lone Druid trying to pick up the Tranquil Boots. He is going to finish it. And this Tiny's Chaos Knight combination is starting to make a lot of things happen. And once that starts getting going, Tiny and... God damn it. Chaos Knight and Wisp going to get more and more experience, getting a lot more gold into their pockets. Clairvoyance trying to escape. He is going to escape successfully. Uh-oh. They're going to go hunting. It's bear hunting time. As Vigoss with the Iron Shell. Will they roam one more camp? Oh no, Clairvoyance reveals his bear, and it has shown that it is attacking. So they know that the hero is nearby. Will they dive for it? That is the question. Meanwhile, you can see the Dire are going to go for the Roshan engaging. They are just going to recall the Lone Druid. This is another trick of Cupid Lights, that he can just recall people back very, very quickly. 12-second cooldown. And allows TC to pick up the Aegis of the Immortal, so allowing him to stay in the battle for a bit longer. Keep in mind, TC hasn't died, just on the strength of Armo Toggle. And with the Basher, he's going to be able to lock people in place. Meanwhile, Tiny just hiding out. Does not want to get ganked by anybody. TP, not enough mana. I guess he just doesn't really want to use the magic wand. He's going to TP out right now, I imagine. Or you can just sit around too. You can do that as well, I suppose. No, he's just going to go back to farming. No, he's going to TP out. Interesting decision making. Meanwhile, the Dire are going to begin their assault on the bottom tier 2 tower, or the middle tier 2 tower rather, as the Illuminate, the Maelstrom proc, and the Illusory Orb able to clean out that creep wave in the blink of an eye. This tier 2 tower will end up dying. Will the Radiant make anything happen in exchange? They are cleaning up the top tier 2 tower. Not really as important in terms of map control for the Dire, but is a bit annoying because it is a tower exchange 1-for-1, and they're just going to teleport back rather than relocate gank. They know that all 5 heroes on Dire are there, but Tiny is going to get Dream Coil. The Dream Coil has been used, so I think if the Radiant do want to engage this, now would be a very strong time. Vigoss charging in, guns blazing, going to get a Reality Rift going. Wisp is there as well. Can the Darkseer get in position? Where's the Darkseer? He is not there. Vigoss does pop the BKB. Wall of Replica has been used. It is going to be used very effectively, able to pick up the Lone Druid and the Keeper of the Light. Meanwhile, Bulba trying to escape. TC just getting chain stun. He is going to lose the Aegis. Fluff trying to escape. Fluff is in the midst of everything. Bulba does end up dying as well. TC can make anything happen with the help of Fluff. That is the question. No, they are just going to get kited around relentlessly. Darkseer is still alive. Chaos Knight running up to the east. And I did not see that BKB by Vigoss coming, but that was such a clutch BKB usage. Able to pick up 3 kills. Use the Aegis. All at the price of only losing the Tiny, so huge victory for the Radiant. And you just see how important these Dream Coils are in this battle. I feel like Dream Coil is pretty much the only ability that allows Liquid a chance in these team fights.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower.
Because otherwise TC can just get relentlessly kited. Not to say that Bulba's playing bad, I think he's playing fine as he had a difficult lane to go against, but I'll just talk about that a little bit later. Wisp just going to teleport out with the help of Tether. Nicely done. Will there be a bash? There will be a bash on Massacre, but he will have the Surge up. Going to pop the Mechanism as well. Another bash, but he does have level 4 of Surge, I imagine. Looks like the toss is going to slow down TC as well. But yeah, I don't think Bulba's playing bad, as unfortunately these Dream Coils just haven't been catching too many heroes because it's just really good positioning by Lion's Pride, also really strong baits as these Dream Coils able to catch up pretty important heroes. It's not like he's using them to catch up with Soul Venomancer while they're pushing the base. They're killing important heroes like the Tiny, and solid positioning by Lion's Pride means that the Dream Coil won't be able to hit too many other people as well. But now we can start to see the goal graph swinging back, and even though the Radiant do have no, looks like the tower advantage or the tower count is equal on both sides. The experience advantage a bit in favor of the Radiant, but definitely nothing to change the game. But Tiny has finished the Aghanim's, and now he can start getting his farm going. And considering that Clairvoyance has just died so often, this is going to become a very big problem very, very quickly for the Dire. Clairvoyance not really going to scale nearly as effectively as the Tiny because he just can't farm as fast without that Radiant split push. Meanwhile, on the side of TC, I wonder what he's going to go for now. Is he going to go for anything like a dagger to help initiate? Is he going to go for Abyssal Blade? Is he going to go for AC? I think AC, probably the best option now, just so they can get a bit of armor aura. But I'm not too sure. Leicester, one of those carries who can pick up a lot of items and still be relatively okay. But he's just getting kited around relentlessly. Maybe something like an Orchid wouldn't be too bad either, just to shut down that Darkseer. It may be a bit unconventional, but I think they really just need to focus on killing this Darkseer or just silencing somebody like the Wisp or the Venomancer in these teamfight engagements. You know, Wisp starting to put those points in overcharge, so that's going to give Chaos Knight a lot of attack speed, as looks like the Spirit Bear are going to take a bunch of damage, but the heroes on the side of the range should should escape successfully. No Dream Coil there, as Bulba not able to be in the correct position. Wasn't expecting that to happen. But you can see Tiny just able to farm so fast now with the Aghanim Scepter. And he can pretty much just out-farm everybody on the Dire squad, considering that the Rain have pretty solid map control themselves. As the Dream Coil Silence is used on to the Venomancer, he is going to escape, or the rest of the Rain are going to escape. Are they going to turn around? No, they do not want to take this fight without the Venomancer. Venomancer has been putting in work. Tiny might be in a bit of trouble. Will there be a first hit entangle? No, an invisibility rune has been taken. No gem being picked up. No, I mean, it's understandable, because there's no invisible heroes on the side of the Rain, but just a lucky break for that Tiny, as I think he might have taken the fall if he did not get that invisibility rune. And you can see, trying my best not to say take the fall so often. I think I've always said it twice. Well, 3 times now that I just explained myself now. Meanwhile, Visage trying to finish up the pipe. Pipe will reduce a lot of Venomancer's damage, but unfortunately you can see the Familiar's just doing nothing to these stone golems, and actually going to block off the next creep camp, but I don't think anybody was in position to farm up in the next minute anyways. Meanwhile, Vigoss is going to get another item shipped to him. What is it? It is going to be Hyperstone. He is going to go for the AC, so Tiny not going to go for the AC. I wonder if Tiny's just going to go for the raw Daedalus. No, looks like he's going to go for BKB. Interestingly enough, we never usually see BKB on carry Tiny these days, but considering the amount... Actually, I guess he just really wants to hit things and does not want to be interrupted in his quest to hit things, which I respect. Tiny not hitting things is just makes for a sad Tiny. So checking out the levels, you can see TC still on top, but you can see his effectiveness not really been too great in these fights. It does have the Abyssal Blade, so even if Vigoss does pop the BKB, he can lock Vigoss in place for 2 seconds. The problem is that I think it's still a 9-second BKB charge. Yes, it is, so it'll have 7 seconds magical immunity just to go to town and everybody if they can't kill him immediately. It's going to become more and more effective once those BKB charges start to wind down. Meanwhile, they spy a Keeper of the Light IX Mike trying to desperately escape onto the horse. Going to get reality rifted. A massive amount of teleports forced by the Wisp and the Chaos Knight, who is hasted. Wisp trying to escape as well. Just going to use the tether to escape. Nicely done by the Radiant, forcing out 135 gold by both of the supports. And looks like the Radiant, or looks like the Dire, just going to try to push in. Venomancer in a bit of a sticky situation, just going to find himself a nice avenue to escape. Beautifully done by Android P, as he went the off the beaten path and was rewarded for his endeavors by not dying. Always a very good reward. Meanwhile, you can see Tiny just continue to farm up. Vigoss farming up as well. So just checking out the gold graph, slightly in favor of the Dire. But I think a lot of that is the Roshan kill advantage. Experience graph slightly in favor of the Rain. I mean, the Rain, or the Dire can farm neutrals a lot more efficiently with the Lifestealer, and I guess with the Lone Druid. But as the game progresses, Tiny's farm will just start spiraling out of control. And I might actually see Tiny Wisp rather than Wisp Chaos Knight. Of course, once that happens, I'll just start calling him Wisp Tiny, or Wisp Chaos Knight. God damn it. I don't know why that's so hard for me. Meanwhile, Vigoss, about 1,300 gold, maybe 1,200 gold for finishing that AC. I doubt he's going to save for a buyback. That's not what Vigoss does. Fluff gonna get the Grave Chill off, but they really can't make anything happen from that. Just a little bit of intimidation factor, just saying, I'm here, what are you going to do about it? As the hood can be finished, looks like the headdress has been finished anyway. So Fluff about 900 gold away from finishing that pipe. That's going to be pretty useful in terms of reducing Venomancer's damage, but now that Tiny and Vigoss are starting to pump out a lot of physical damage, that pipe won't be nearly as effective. But still, a very useful item against Venomancer, against Vacuum, against Ion Shell. Meanwhile, Darks are just going for a lot of versatility items, getting some armor to tank up a lot of the physical damage, getting Ghost Scepter as well. Really Other than the soul assumption by Visage, or whatever the heck he's called, by Fluff, we'll just go with that. There's really not too many super nukes to be afraid of. Keep the Lights nuke, very, very powerful, but pretty long cooldown. Meanwhile, TC, unable to make too much item progression as the Chaos Knight Wisp combination did teleport in. Chaos Knight just going to escape the Wisp for now. It looks like Massacre going to take a bunch of damage, does have the Ghost Scepter. Are they going to use the Dream Coil on this? They are, as Massacre will end up dying. Does he have buyback? That is the question. He does have buyback. But this is going to secure Team Liquid a nice Roshan advantage. Darkseer is going to buy back. They are going to contest this. I think this is the right move. There is no Dream Coil down, or Dream Coil up. So I think the Rain could engage this a bit more successfully. But will the Roshan die before the Rain can get in position? It's taking a bunch of damage. The Familiar's not scouting at the moment. Here comes the Venom Scale. Android going to get entangled. Going to pop the Ghost Scepter as well. Going to get the Nova off. You know, Chaos Knight and the Wisp trying to kill off Clairvoyance. Visage does manage to kill off the Venomancer. TC trying to chase down the Titan. Looks like Clairvoyance does end up dying. Fluff gonna be soon after. Meanwhile, IX Mech just dies in an instant to the Venomancer. Immense amount of magical damage. TC desperately trying to run away. Can he escape successfully? He might be in a bit of trouble. He is in a lot of trouble. He's gonna die as well. And again, you just see how much Team Liquid relies on Dream Coil, how much they rely on positioning. And then a clumped up engagement, Darkseer reigns supreme over everybody. Might have been a lack of communication, playing with the stand. Might be a bit of greediness, trying to go for the Roshan kill after seeing Darkseer buyback. But overall, that might cost Team Liquid the Middle-Racks. It will cost them the Middle-Racks. TC, I do not think does have buyback. He does have buyback, but it looks like they're not going to test this Middle-Racks. Just going to save up for the items. Clairvoyance, unfortunately, has been a brunt of a lot of focus by the Chaos Knight Wisp combination. And now that Tiny has finished the BKB, he's going to start picking up more and more items. Going to probably go for the Daedalus next. Meanwhile, Chaos Knight going to finish up the AC and still has 1400 gold in the bank. And now the Rain are going to clean up Roshan. Everything is starting to spiral out of control for Team Liquid. This is not looking good for them. Ian Wisp picking up a couple more points into overcharge. You can see how much big of a difference the Wisp's effect is when he's ahead rather than when he's behind. I mean, if this Wisp was in a losing scenario, he'd be like level, I guess like level 8 and just die in like 2 hits. But since they're ahead, he's able to get a lot more accomplished and able to help buff up his carries. So, Goldgraph going to take a huge swing in favor of the Rain. It still has not finished registering on the side of 2. Experience Graph taking a huge swing as well. And looks like the Rain are going to try to attempt a smoke gank. They are going to use it. Will they be able to find anybody? The thing about it is that the Rain do know that a likely way for the Dire to get themselves back in the game is on the back of a smoke gank. And the Rain had a ward there anyway. Wow. Wow. Vigoss is just going to chill. He's gonna teleport out. Will the Familiar spot him? Oh my god. Why didn't they use like a Sentry Ward? Maybe they just weren't expecting it. Maybe they were just too broke. But that Radiance Observer Ward helped spot out the smoke gank. Or the smoke gank attempt. And wastes a bit of Liquid's time. But keep in mind the Rain, it's not like the Rain were farming too much either. You know, TC, again, has the Abyssal Blade, but unable to make too much happen, because they're just focusing down everybody else on his team, and he's just getting kited around. Once Rage Duration runs out, you can pretty much just stun him in place with Avalanche, with the Chaos Bolt, with the Wisp Tether stun, with the Venomancer Gale slowing him down. Really very difficult for Lystio to have as big an impact in these games as you might expect. But Liquid still do have a chance. They still have Dream Coil. The question is, can they catch more than 1 or 2 targets in it? Bulba's Dream Coil will have to be really, really on top of its game. As keep in mind, in the last engagement, he used it on the Darkseer, forced to buy back. I think Team Liquid probably just stayed a bit too long, and the Roshan engagement with TC going to take a lot of damage. He is going to get stunned in place. No, what was he doing? Oh, he's trying to get recalled by the Keep of the Light. Unfortunately, he did not take in. Chaos Knight able to pick up the kill with the help of the double Dancer. TC's going to be forced to buy back. And that is really unfortunate for the Dire squad, as they are going to try to get themselves in defensive posture. Liquid Fluff trying to teleport out. Everybody on Team Liquid is going to teleport out. They know they have to defend this top barracks, otherwise they might very well lose the game. Unfortunately, no ultimates were used on the side of Radiant. Radiant are going in with full strength. Can Bulba get a huge Dream Coil? He's going to get locked in place by the tether. He's going to get a nice 3-man Dream Coil. Allow his lifesteal to get a bit more right-click damage, but Chaos Knight a bit too strong at this point. The bear is going to get bursted down. TC, where is TC? He did buy back. Oh, he died as well. He got chain stunned to death. And I think this is the beginning of the end for Team Liquid. Or it might just be the end of the end for Team Liquid as a Rampage picked up by Vigoss. And just waiting for Team Liquid to GG out. No back left on the lifesteal. They are just going to go straight for the throne with the help of the Aghanim Scepter Tiny. As Lion's Pride is showing that they still got it. Or Vigoss has still got it. But overall, pretty solid play. I was really impressed with this Darkseer and the Wisp. But Vigoss definitely the story of the game, as no GGs were called. I think Team Liquid... No, they are going to call GG. Probably discussing amongst themselves what they did wrong. But I think once Korok gets back onto the team, Team Liquid should be in pretty good shape. Clairvoyance is under a lot of pressure. And it's not like he had Tony Awards to help him spot out the incoming ganks. But I think Korok, they're just more comfortable with him as a carry, are a bit more able to devise easier strategies revolving around him. So, not trying to hate on Clairvoyance. I just think once Liquid gets Korok back, they should be back to their usual form. But Lion's Pride taking themselves a nice victory. So I think in the defense group, both Lion's Pride and Team Liquid are 2-2. So they will both be in the lower bracket at this stage. So that's definitely going to hurt Team Liquid a bit in the chance to make it to the upper bracket and try to claim a repeat title. Well, considering Team Liquid is Complexity for the most part well, they have 3 players on the side. They're trying to get that repeat title because they were mostly Complexity last defense. But now they're representing Team Liquid, but unfortunately they did end up dying in this game. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Peace.